This video is going to discuss defensive 25 organization on free hits. The objective for the defensive side is to create a numbers up situation. In other words, more defenders in this space than attacking players on the other team. So in this situation, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in red on attack versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders. That is a good situation for the white team to be in. The very primary objective is to defend the player on the ball, which this player is doing here. She is taking the closest line of the ball to goal. The ball line to goal is this line here. She's covering this space 5 yards away. The other players need to mark. This player is marking her. This player will be marking her. This player is marking, and this player is marking. This means that this player is a free player, otherwise known as a cover player. The cover player is very important in this situation. She needs to be positioned in the ball line to goal, so in this space here, behind the first defender, which is her, but outside of the circle. So 5 here would be a perfect position for her to be in. All right. If we play a situation, see what happens. In this situation, the first defender wins the ball easily. In this situation, similar, we'll draw the ball line to goal. So first, player marking the player on the ball. This player is marking a player outside of the shot. This player is being marked. This player back here is marking her. And I believe there's a player out wide. Again, this player is the free player, also known as the cover player. She needs to be in this position here. So instead of here, needs to be there. That's a big difference. So the role of the cover player, she provides support to the teammate that is in the 1v1. She allows the other players to stay on their marks. If this player tries to pass the ball into the circle, she's in a good position to intercept it. Or she can help this player create a double team to win the ball. Because she's not in position, this player is able to receive it. If the cover player recovers into this position, she could probably intercept this ball that's played through her feet. Because she's not there and she's hanging out over here, she's beat, forcing this player to try to intercept this pass. All right, so this player should be marking her, but instead she has to leave her mark to put pressure on the ball carrier who just beat this defender. That job should be performed by this player over here by being in this position. Because she had to leave her mark's wide open. She dribbles into the space. Mark is wide open on the near post. Both of these players are now beat. She has been beat the whole time because she's been over here. Nothing else for these players to do. 2v goalie, right? 2v1 in this situation. This should be a goal. The only reason it's not because she misses. All right, in this situation, we need to establish who is the cover player. And what can she do? All right. So it's a long hit right here. We will draw the ball line to goal first, so you can kind of see where it's at. Although it's real simple to see, it's right down the middle of the field. All right, this player is marking this player and the ball. This player is marked. This player is marked. Mark. Mark. Cover player is here. Note, the cover player should be standing there, not out here. Okay, so if we play it, she ends up winning the ball. This is actually a good example of the cover player supporting the player in the 1v1. She does not create a double team, but she intercepts or tackles the ball after she's beat. So this is, if I play it from this point, this is a very good example of a cover player stepping up to win the ball. In this situation, it's a quick restart, so the play is live, whistle right here, and they're going. All right. So the first question that needs to be answered in this situation is, who has the ball? Carrier, this girl, and who is going to be cover? All right. This player should be marking her. This player is marking her. This player is already marking her. This is a free player. Free player. Free player. Between the three of them, they need to decide who marks this player, who marks this player, and then who is the cover. In this still frame, it would make sense for this player to mark her, this player to mark her, and this player to be the free player. However, that does not necessarily mean it's the only answer. As you notice, what happens, this player ends up being picked up by this player, which is fine. The issue is these two players need to first get back 5 yards, because if they try to play this ball, it'll be upgraded to a penalty corner. The only reason in this clip it was not is because she got beat completely. Notice she's waiting to call a corner. All right, so in this situation, who has the ball? Who is the cover? In this situation, they're in a straight line. That's a good situation to be in to create a double team. However, both of them can be beat in one simple play because they're in the same line. All right, so in this moment, we have now established that this player is the player marking this ball carrier, and this player has to be the cover. She needs to trail and come this way as the ball moves. Instead, she stays central and not doing anything in this space here. This player needs to stay on her mark more. Right? Because she's now beat. If this player stayed wide, boom, easy goal. But she has to come off of her mark, and she has to come off of her mark to stop this shot. This player because she steps, she forces the ball to go too wide. All right. Simple ball there. All right, in this clip, another free hit. Player here is marking a player out wide. This player is marking her. Player marking her. This player has player on the ball in a pretty good position. This player is a cover player. She needs to be A, outside of the circle, and B, in ball line to goal. As you can easily see in this clip, not even close. She actually has a free shot straight through the goal. That is not good. Against better teams, better players, they will take that space and shoot before anyone has a chance to take it off. If the free hit was taken outside of the 25, it could be a straight hit or sweep right in goal for a player to tip. That is why it's important for this player to be here and not where she's at. In fact, she is not doing much of anything because there's no player behind her. If the player were to pass it off of her left foot or into this space here, it's probably going out over the end line for a 16 for us. So that's fine, we'll take that. Right, so she needs to be about here. Notice the difference. So instead of this being a 1v1 and just getting beat, if this player were to follow, she would be able to intercept that ball. Instead, it gets to this player who turns, and now we get a corner. Right, so at the beginning of this situation, if we had the cover player in position, this could be a 1v2 right here. A double team forcing her maybe to, if she goes forward into the two players, it's probably a foul, and it's our ball. Or if she has to pass this player out wide, and a player in the corner is a better situation for the ball when we're on defense than this player. But instead, we have to hit it over the end line for a penalty corner. All right, in this situation, all players need to be marked. Are they? She is marked. She is being marked. She is being marked. This player back here is about to mark her. Right? This player has her, and this player is the cover player. This player does not have a mark. This player does. Right? So in this clip, everything looks good, but a second later we find out this is 2 against 1. Or if we look at it for us, 1v2. That is not good. In the bigger picture, it is 2 versus 3, right? So we do have numbers up, but they're not in a good position in this situation. Right? So this is what happens. Player is able to get the ball into the circle. They're able to get a shot, which the white team fortunately deflects and blocks. However, that could easily be a goal or a penalty corner. So how do we fix this situation when a player comes into this space? This player on the ball, she's in a good position. She's being marked. Again, the cover player. This player here needs to be outside of the circle in this space here. So notice it's really small. gap to this player's right. And then this player, because she is behind the ball, which is great, in the sense that she's in this space, she's on this side of the ball, she should be here as well. So we should have 3 defenders for this player, the player that comes in, and as a cover player. Which one would step to this player? That is their choice to communicate and decide. But this player should be taking this player should be marking her, cover player is out here. If we have the cover player out here, this player can step to the ball and be aggressive to win this 1v1 in space. This player is being marked, which gives her the chance to step up without getting beat on a simple pass. The cover player is supporting her by stepping up in case she gets beat. Because that doesn't happen, she has to sit back. All right, inside the circle here, notice again, players have to leave their marks. So this player is the one who receives it. This is the girl who is marking her. She's already been beat. This player steps to the ball, leaving her mark. This player is more dangerous than this player, so this defender takes her, which is good. The problem is she has 2 choices. And really it doesn't matter which one to take. Because it's a numbers down situation. So again, if the cover was in place, none of this would happen. Most goals are scored when they're in the circle in this space here because players have to step off, leave their mark, and the ball finds that open player who can easily play it past the goalie. All right, this is not a clip of defensive organization. However, we can still see why we need numbers up situation. So this player receives the ball wide open. Why? I do not know. She receives it very easily. All right, so right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacking players versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can count her to be 6 to have numbers up. But she needs to tackle back and get in position for that to happen. She should go mark this player because she's out. She's the widest player and furthest behind the ball. If she were to pass to her right now, that's fine. We would take that. But of course she's not going to because she has all this space to goal. So we need to figure out and communicate who is marking whom. This player should probably mark her. This player or this player can mark her. And then the other one would probably step the ball. I would think this player would mark her. We'll go back to see why. Because that's this player here. So it's important in the midfield players, you need to see who's close to you when the ball goes past you, like so, and mark that player. This is now her mark. Notice how wide open she is. That's not good. So this player is now covering this player, so she doesn't receive the pass, but she's allowing her to dribble straight ahead. These 2 players, one of them needs to mark 23, the other one needs to be the cover player. Thankfully, she just hits it in to the circle for our defense. Honestly, I would want this player offensively to get forward a little bit more for her to pass it out wide. Because she is a wide open lane down the baseline to goal. So in this situation, this player needs to get out of the circle. Very fortunate in that situation. All right, in this situation, watch it a little bit. All right, so there is no cover in this situation. We can't see who's in the goal, so we don't know if we have an extra player or if it's numbers up, everyone marked. All we can see is player here marked, player here marked. This player is marking her, but is also what we call double defending. That is defending this space while marking her. And this player has a player on the ball. All right, so this is important. This player is marking that space because in reality, this is probably the ball line to goal. If this player steps up here, the space between these two players, right now 115, she steps closer to 15. These numbers are arbitrary, but you can see that it's bigger space, which means she has more space to go through. Now, that movement by this player here, and watch again, she takes 2 steps. That should be a signal for this player to go straight through. Again, playing better teams, better players, they will take advantage of this and go straight to here with the ball. They will pass to this player who comes out, who's wide open. Instead, she takes too many touches, which allows us to win the ball. But that is very important. Number 2, who is the cover? Who should be cover? This player is a forward. Forwards are typically not a cover player, only because they're probably marking players up here. However, if the situation warrants, we need to have her drop. More realistically, this player would mark this player would slide over and be the cover player. Because now this ball there is gone. All right, this is a little bit longer clip. All right. So first situation, ball is live. This player drops. Now take the ball carrier 1v1. So this player was in a 1v1. It is now a 1v2 situation, which is good. She's acting like a cover player. This player is acting as a cover player, supporting in this line. If this player would pass it in, she'd be able to intercept it. All right, whistle foul right here. Let's look at what's going on in the circle. This player is being marked. This player is marking her. This player is marking her. Number 5 is a free player and can be the cover player in the situation in addition to her. But again, cover player location needs to be outside of the circle. Why? Because if she intercepts a ball that's played into the circle and it hits her foot, if it's in the circle, that's a corner. However, if it's outside the circle, it's just a foul. That's pretty important because penalty corners, as you well know, are more likely to score goals. All right, so we want her to be out there. In this situation right now, this player has lost her mark, and this player will be taking it. So it's a different situation than what we just talked about. Now this player should be the cover player. She should be in this space here. Again, if we draw a line from where the goal would be, she needs to be in this space here. Maybe even a little bit further out. This player was not 5, so she cannot engage until this player moves, so she's essentially out of position. And now this player is the player going against her. Again, good positioning by this player here. But in this moment, she's now beat. If the cover player was outside here, she'd be closer. In this situation, she'd probably be able to tackle this ball because it's not even close to being on her stick. Right? But instead, she's late, gives the attacker time to touch the ball past her for a shot. If this player, again, if we play better players and better teams, this player is not standing here. She's coming out here, which means this player is marking her out here, meaning this player is wide open here. Fortunately enough, she stays there, allowing her mark to block the shot. All right, similar situation to what we talked about before. This time you can see the second attacker is in the screen. So again, we have mark, mark, open player, mark, mark, open player. All right, so this is a player, if we go back just a few seconds, she needs to find a mark. She needs to find a mark. That's her mark. So there's two players in the circle who need to find a mark. I believe the one here takes her, but this player does not have a mark. She's the cover player. She should be out at the top of the circle. Because she's not, number 12 has to try to organize. She is talking to a forward to get back to mark this player. I can only assume. And then because she's doing that, she is leaving her mark. If we are in the situation on attack, this player here, if you realize you have two players versus one, dribble into this space, draw your defender out wide, and then pass it. All right. That also works. So what's the situation here? So she is being marked. This player is marking her. This player is the cover player, which is in the circle. Notice who gets it. It's this player. Why? Because number 12 is not marking closely enough to this player. Because she's trying to bring other players back. Forwards, your player is above the ball here. You must get back behind the ball in this situation here. In this position. All right, you cannot mark from back here. You must be in between the ball and our goal. Ball finds the open player. Cover player is here. Instead of intercepting that pass, if she was out here, she now has to hopefully defend and block a shot. So we're not just focusing on what actually happens in these clips, but what can happen. We would take a foul, a foot, or a stick foul or anything outside the circle all day because it's not a corner. Anything that happens inside the circle will be a corner. So while this is not a good shot, and we can clear it, if the goalie clears it high or hits a teammate's foot in the situation, that would be a penalty corner. It would not be good. She also clears it straight to their player. The only reason this is a foul coming out is because she misses the ball and hits the defender's stick. If it wasn't for that, this bodying right here, that could easily be a penalty corner as well. So there's many situations in this one clip. Fortunately, none of them happened for the white team. All right, so these next 3 clips, I will have you figure out who is or who should be the cover in this clip. And for this clip, we will look at where should she be located. So here's the clip. All right. Again, from here. We want to create a numbers up situation. Do we have numbers up in this moment? Which player do you think should be the cover? And then the second question, we draw the ball line to goal. Where should she be? Clip number 2. All right, free hit right there. Who should be the cover? And where should she be located? Second question for number 21, question number 2, is who's marking the player with the ball? All right. So 2 questions. 1, who has player on the ball? And who is the cover? Fortunately, on this play, fortunately for the white team, their coach calls a timeout and play stops. For club hockey, there is no timeouts, so that's a free shot into the circle. Right, coming out of the timeout, who is the cover player in this situation, and where should she be located? All right, for all 3 questions, you can submit which number player, which jersey number of the player that you could see on the screen, and then just say where she should be located.